Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today I wanted to do something that was a little fun because I like to do something that's a little fun every now and then, and I'm going to go into full-blown Alex Jones mode here and do something that sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, because I have a theory, but it's pretty far out there. But I had done these two previous videos, and I'm going to put the link in the description and put them at the end, the two previous videos, and I have something out of each of them that I can't reconcile, and I'm trying to think, how do I reconcile these two things? And what I came up with to reconcile them is extremely improbable, but not impossible. It sounds a little crazy, but it's just improbable, very improbable, but not impossible. So I thought, I'll do the Sherlock Holmes thing, and when you discount everything that's impossible, whatever is left, however improbable, is the case. Usually he's dealing with a finite number of variables where I am not, but still, that's why it seems a little bit conspiracy theory-ish. But I got no other way to figure this out, so I figure I'll give it to you. It's kind of fun anyways. So in my last two videos, what I had done was talked about Marvel and its situation and how it advertises and what that means. So the first one that I went over was that it came out of Marvel Rising and their little shorts that came out, and how it seems like, something just clicked while I was watching those, that Disney is a large company and it deals with multi-platform advertising campaigns. Every large company now deals with multi-platform advertising campaigns. It's just the way it goes. So when they acquired Marvel, it seems like what they did was they made it a company that was dealing simply with multi-platform advertising campaigns, and their end product was, in every case, the movies, or possibly the shows to a lesser degree. And everything else before that is just part of their advertising. And that would include stuff like the shorts that they put on YouTube and the little cartoons and things like that they do. It would include all of their Twitter page and everything that they put on there. And it would also include all the comic books, that they're nothing more than just advertisements now. And that's what they are for their end product, which is the movies. So it's part of a multi-platforming advertising campaign. But as I was doing my last video, which was about the Twitter page for Marvel Entertainment, not for Marvel Studios, which deals with the movies, I was doing that and I'm looking at it, and I had done two videos on this, one a little while ago about Marvel's Twitter page, and I'm looking at it, and in the older video, I'm looking at the number of actual subscriptions to this Twitter page. And for Marvel Entertainment, not the Marvel Studios page, which is the movies one, they have 6.68 million people that have joined their page, that have subscribed to it. But they're trying hard and only getting, sometimes 500, sometimes 1,000, on average about 1,000 likes per tweet, right? Sometimes it would go a lot higher, but sometimes it would go a lot lower. So on average, they don't have a lot. The tweet that I was dealing with for the Women of Marvel podcast that I was talking about, it had something like 575 tweets when it was up for 4 days. Okay. Now, if you actually average that out according to 6.68 million subscribers, that's basically, I didn't do the math on it, but quickly it would be something like 0.003 of 1%. So if you round that, that's zero. That's barely anything compared to what their subscriber list is. I'm nobody. And let's say right now, I have, 90 subscribers, we'll say 100. Let's say 100. I usually get about 10 likes on one of my 10-minute videos. So if I can pull in 10% of my audience to hit a like, and they can't even pull in 1%, not even half of 1%, not even a third of 1% in most cases, then something's not right there. And the one that I was dealing with too, the tweet, it was for an interview, and it had the interview linked in the tweet, and the tweet that it had about 575 likes, but if you actually went to the interview itself, which was on another page, it only had about 180 listens, and then it only had 77 likes after that. So obviously something's not right with these numbers. Something's going on. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it must be, I mean, I can't say this for sure, but it really looks like when you crunch the numbers that they are buying these subscriptions and these likes from somebody, either directly from Twitter or from somebody else. These likes and these subscriptions are not actually coming from people listening to and wanting to be part of their Twitter page. And they're very heavily into Twitter. That's how they advertise on social media, mainly is through Twitter. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if they're actually buying all of these subscriptions, or a large number of them in any case, and buying a lot of these likes, so it looks like people are actually viewing these things, well, that really sounds a lot like false advertising to me, because if their Twitter is part of a multi-platforming advertising campaign and it is just part of their advertising, that's what it is, they're just using Twitter as part of their advertising, then that really sounds like they're buying all of these likes and buying all of these subscriptions to make it look like people are really interested, so other people are interested. That sounds like false advertising, and I went to the Federal Trade Commission's website and I'm looking up what exactly false advertising is, because I have a little bit of familiarity with law. I worked for companies and lawyers that deal with law and things like that, and I know how dense it is. So this is just a general outline. I know law in practice, and these laws are much more complicated, but it does sound like, according to the Federal Trade Commission's definitions, this would be covered if it is happening, if they are buying likes and buying subscriptions to their Twitter page as part of an advertising campaign, then that is actually false advertising, because let's see what it says here. When consumers see or hear an advertisement, whether it is on the internet, radio, or television, or anywhere else, federal law says that ad must be truthful, not misleading, and, when appropriate, backed by scientific evidence. The Federal Trade Commission enforces these truth in advertising laws, and it applies the same standards no matter where the ad appears. So if the Twitter page, that's from the FTC's website. So if this part of their Twitter page, if it is just simply about advertising, if it is simply an advertising tool, and they are buying these likes and they are buying these subscriptions, which the numbers really kind of point to, then that's false advertising. Okay, so the thing is that I was trying to reconcile why Marvel was actually trying to be trying to push this whole they are a lifestyle brand thing now, when it appears that nobody is actually paying any attention to it. In the tweet that I was talking about, the one about the Women of Marvel podcast, it had 575 likes, it had so many retweets and all of these things. Even though they were a small number, still that's a pretty big number compared to the fact that they had 81 replies to this tweet and 0 of them were positive. 100% of them were negative. So I thought, again, something here is wrong. Something must be going on. And again, in my mind, it would point to the fact that they are buying likes. And I had a little more evidence in that video as well. It just seems to point to it. I can't say definitively, certainly, but it just seems to point that way. So I'm wondering, why in the world are they pushing this, lifestyle branding thing? Because the thing that doesn't add together in my mind is, if they are trying to push a lifestyle branding, which they are, which we know, and large companies always use multi-platforming advertising campaigns, which is true, which you can take as a given, all large companies do, then there's something that doesn't reconcile with those things, because a lifestyle branding works specifically with subcultures, whereas multi-platforming advertising campaigns don't work with subcultures. They are shotgun things that work with larger culture in general. So those two things work at cross purposes. Now, again, I'm just me, so I don't know the nuances of how each of these would interact with each other and if there is a way to reconcile them. So take it for what it's worth. But there seems to be something irreconcilable with those two things. And I'm looking at it, and the only way that I can actually connect these two in my mind seems a little bit well, I won't say crazy, but improbable. And here's what I'm thinking. Okay, here's my theory. So you tell me what you think of this in the end. So my theory is this. We'll go as this is my hypothetical. So hypothetical situation. Disney is a large company. It deals with multi-platforming advertising campaigns. That's how they dealt with their movies all the time and how it works out for them. They buy Marvel. They buy Marvel and they say, okay, you're going to be a multi-platforming advertising campaign company from now on. You are going to have to do like we do for the other ones because it works out for us. You're just going to be doing the same thing that we do for the other movies. Good enough. All right, so they start up Marvel as a multi-platforming advertising campaign company, but it doesn't work for them. Nobody that is a Marvel fan actually likes these things, and we can see that plainly through all of the replies and the way that fans of Marvel that used to be fans of Marvel were actually, relating to these things. So what they did, in my hypothetical, is that what they did was they went to Twitter, because they use Twitter to advertise things a lot. They went to Twitter and said, okay, we're going to buy a whole bunch of subscriptions from you so it makes it look like we actually have 6.68 million subscriptions. We're going to buy a whole bunch of likes for every one of these tweets that we have so it makes it look like people are actually liking these things so that we draw in other people. And so that eventually, as we actually get these people drawn in, and they will replace these bot likes so that they will actually, in the end, we won't have to use them anymore and we'll just replace them with normal people, and therefore it's just a temporary thing. But it didn't happen. People did not start subscribing. People did not start liking. Far from it. They started ratioing these things and making sure that they knew at Disney or Marvel that no, they do not want this at all. So they had to continue on to buy these subscriptions and buy these likes. And they continued and they continued and they continued. And then it really looks like it is what if they continue and continue and continue to do it, because if they only did it for a short time just to get the ball rolling, just to grease the wheels, well, it kind of could be sort of put off as, well, it's not that big a deal and it's not false advertising. But if you continue to do it and try to draw people in with this advertising by making it look like there's a whole lot of people that are into it, then that's false advertising. And if they can't stop doing it, they can't just say, okay, we have to stop buying these likes, we have to stop buying these 6.68 million subscribers, and then everything drops. So they can't do that because they're going to be found out very easily. So what they had to do was continue on with it and continue on with it and continue on with it. And that looks like, and probably is, in my opinion, a false advertising campaign. So how do they get out of this? Well, they come up with a brilliant idea that, okay, let's put it out there that our Twitter page and all that we do for advertising is a lifestyle branding way of advertising. Why would they do that? Because they have these things in their Twitter page. And I'm not joking when I give you these examples. These are true examples about, how to make a burrito. This burrito is called the Juggernaut. And they have all these cooking shows to show you these, that basically they just give funny names to them that are connected to comics of what they're cooking. They show you how to draw the face of Spider-Gwen on your coffee in foam. And they have these for the Fantastic Four and everything else. And I'm not joking. This is what's on their Twitter page, right? These are idiotic things that are on their Twitter page because they're saying they're a lifestyle brand so that they can claim that, look, 80% of what we actually put on our Twitter page is not really an advertisement. It's just a silly little thing we came up with. And if 80% of it is, quote unquote, lifestyle branding and doesn't actually have to do with hard advertising, then they can skip out on saying in some way that it's false advertising. Because of course we have, congressional hearings now with people being drawn in from all the social platforms, and they're saying to people that own Twitter and everybody else, YouTube and the other platforms, that, hey, you're going to have to start pulling up your socks here, and if you don't, we're going to have to regulate your industry. And it really looks like the federal government is going to start regulating social media like Twitter. And if they start sticking their hands in there and sticking their noses in there and seeing things that are not correct and are false advertising, then, people companies like Disney, they're going to be in a lot of hot water, and they're going to have to deal with Federal Trade Commission rules and that they broke them. And so this is their solution, because we can see that this is probably going to be the case now, that, you know, the government is going to step into platforms like Twitter and not really take them over, but put them under regulations, and then they're going to have to disclose all of their practices. And, you know, it's been stirring for a while now, and people, again, companies like Disney are probably saying to themselves, we've been doing things that are pretty shady here for a while. We're going to have to figure out a way to make it look like we weren't actually doing shady things. And my little improbable theory is that the whole lifestyle branding, in part, is the fact that they are trying to make their Twitter feed and everything else look ridiculously simplistic and have all these ridiculous things in them that aren't really advertising, so that they can claim that their Twitter page is, you know, 80% this ridiculous content, and only 20% actually, at the best, I'd say it's sometimes about 10% or even 5% advertising for comics and movies and everything else, so that they can claim that it's not actually there for advertising, so they can't be sued or taken to court for false advertising in their advertising on Twitter. So that was my fun little, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not really a conspiracy theory, but the thing is this. Here's the thing. This is why I really wanted to do this fun little video, little Alex Jones kinds of video here, because, like I said at the first, this is extremely improbable, I would say, but at the same time, I can't discount it as being impossible. I can't, and I don't think that you could probably discount it in your own mind. I don't know. You tell me. Can you discount it in your mind as being impossible? I would say no. And the thing is that this just points to how messed up our comic industry is. That this thing that is so improbable, we can't discount as being impossible because of all the crazy and stupid things that are going on. That's how messed up it is. I can't believe that that's how messed up the actual comic industry is, that I can't discount this as being possible. That's the thing. So I have to think about it and actually consider it as being possibly possible. It's just bizarre. So I'm going to probably end a lot of my videos like this from now on, because I keep on coming to this point where I have to say that this industry is so unhealthy. Really, not to Twitter, go out to Kickstarter, go out to Indiegogo and find some good crowdfunded campaigns, because that's the only place you're going to find people who actually love comics and are actually producing comics because they love comics. And so you're going to get better comics there. And so go find those people. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.